Hi, I'm Peggy with Patch Nutrition, here to do another question and answer today. Today's question is about anhidrosis. And this question has actually been posed to us quite often. And recently I wasn't able to give a full answer to someone who asked because of the environment that I was in. But I'm hoping that somehow this video finds her. She had come in to ask a vet where I happened to be looking at x-rays, and posed the question, my horse isn't sweating, what can I do? I'm really worried. We were at a horse show, it was over 100 degrees, and during competition that can be a very dangerous situation for your horse to be in, to not be able to sweat. And anyway, because it's not my clinic, I was not really able to give her very much information. But one of the things that I did give her, because I also had experienced this with a horse that we own, not sweating. And so while it happened at a horse show and we didn't really know what to do, we did run fluids, and that was helpful, but didn't really help the horse to sweat. It did cool the horse down and he felt better, but he didn't start him sweating. And what we did find was that cryotherapy worked. We took him to, I call it the freezer tank, but we took him to a special bus that was on the property, and in it they have a cryo stall, where they actually significantly lower the internal body temperature of the horse, and it does some really beautiful things. It lowers inflammation and pain and all kinds of lovely things. But for our horse, it caused him within a very short time, hours, to immediately begin sweating again. And while we did have to do it several times during that competition that was 12 days long, about every fourth day we would have to go back and redo it. What I didn't understand at the time was that is a thyroid issue, and the thyroid is not functioning to maintain the body temperature, which it is responsible for that. It's responsible for maintaining the internal body temperature. And so part of what that looks like is if the body becomes too hot, the pores should open and allow moisture to flow out of the body. And that, of course, is sweat. And just the sweat on the skin helps the horse to cool itself. And humans as well. So if you're someone who doesn't sweat, you also have a thyroid condition, because if it's above 80 degrees, you should be sweating. And interestingly, I was working with a human and who had a medical concern, and this person went on our superfood, hormone balancer, Studley, and some other things more specific to the condition. But within a couple days of taking it, he called and he said, I'm sweating. And I was like, good, it's hot, okay. And he said, I've never sweat my whole life. I was like, oh, that's not good. But bells started going off in my head. He is just taking these things, he's just taking our herbs, and all of a sudden, first time in his life, he's sweating. And he said, I had to stop and get deodorant. I've never owned deodorant. I was like, really? You're 50. How? He said, well, I might sweat a little if it's over 100, but I never sweat when it's only like 80 degrees. And I was like, that's really unhealthy. That's very unhealthy. That might be part of what has contributed to your current condition. And but the bells going off at that time, because the day before this conversation, this horse that we'd had as a young horse who didn't sweat at the horse show, he happened to be a stallion, and we needed to collect him for a couple of our own mares, and he couldn't collect. He just physically could not. He wanted to. He got on the dummy with no apparatus ready and could not get or maintain enough stiffness to actually do it. And it was the first day it was above 80. It was probably about 85 degrees. And while I'm on the phone with my friend who had a medical condition, who's human, and he's telling me, well, I've never sweat, like, ever. bells are going off in my head because I just realized that not sweating is a hormone condition, a condition of a hormone problem. And even though I knew that the hot flashes and stuff were also a thyroid issue, for whatever reason, I didn't make that correlation right away as far as a horse and not sweating. Well, I went straight to the house and got human hormone balancer and took it out and gave it to the horse. The next morning, he's in a full body sweat. It was hot. It was 88 degrees, I believe, that day. And he's in a full body sweat. So I continued to give it to him. And on Friday, which was 48 hours later, he collected again with no problem and has continued to collect with no issue whatsoever and sweats regularly. But he had developed a hormone imbalance at some point, which his body could not set right. And part of the reason that horses aren't able to set some of these hormone issues that they're experiencing right is because of food, what they're taking in. So if they've been raised on or have had at some point GMO grains, especially wheat, they are going to experience hormone issues because the gluten molecule is the same size as the hormone molecules in human and horses' bodies. And they go into the receptor sites that are meant for those hormones, but the gluten molecule doesn't give anything to the animal. And so they're actually just nutrient deficient. They are deficient of what is required to perform the functions of the body. And so just taking the thyroid hormone molecule, for example, if the gluten molecule is in there and the thyroid molecule is needed in order to instigate sweating, but it can't get in there, then no sweating can occur. And so even if you take them off the GMO grains and gluten and all of that, it still is very difficult for the body to, without help, without nutrition, turn that back around, which is what this horse was experiencing because he had been off of wheat products for probably a year and still was not sweating, still had not set it right. He was on oats and alfalfa and grass hay, and that's all. And so that is actually how we came to know that not sweating is profoundly an issue of the thyroid. And so I hope that at some point this video might find the really sweet woman who I wanted to help that day, but was not able to, because a horse doesn't have to go without sweating. They don't have to be miserable. Overheating internally can actually be very detrimental even to the life of the horse. You can actually lose them from non-sweating. Besides all the health conditions that it also instigates, which are becoming too toxic, pain in the muscles and soft tissues because it can't actually purge some of the chemicals that they're absorbing, such as fly spray and these things. Sweating actually helps to clean the skin. And if they can't get it out of the skin, it has to be taken up by the body and it has to be processed through the liver and the kidneys. And so it can affect the liver and the kidneys. So there's actually quite a long line of things that not sweating is going to affect in the animal that are detrimental, not just in the short term, but also in the long term as well. So if you have a horse that doesn't sweat, then what you need is hormone balancer. If you have a horse that doesn't sweat and is anxious, then you also need Just Chill. And I hope that this helps someone whose horse is not sweating. They definitely should be sweating. Also check your grains for wheat middlings, soybean meal, and corn. And if it doesn't say non-GMO, you can pretty much guarantee that it is a GMO. And oats are the best for the horse. They actually help to support hormone production because they do offer the body the correct amount and the correct type of cholesterol in the oils that are naturally found in it. And if there's not enough oil in it, enough cholesterol in it for the horse to make the hormones that it needs for that day, then the horse can take that starch into the liver and convert the starch found in oats right into cholesterol. It doesn't take a lot. Horse doesn't need more than a pound of oats a day. That's probably the most natural amount. So that is why we feed oats because it is actually very supportive to the endocrine system, which is the entire hormonal system of the body, and that runs everything. I hope that this helps, and if you have any questions, please feel free to reach out to us directly, put in the comments, and be blessed.